Hey friends, it's Gillian, and in this video I want to break down some of the most surprising lessons I learned from launching 100K Mastermind back in March. By the end of the 2-week promotion for this product, we had netted over $164,000, making it my most successful launch yet. Cue ribbons and confetti falling from the sky. I was definitely doing a happy dance and over the moon with these results. Now, I was especially happy with these results because it was the second launch of 100K Mastermind. We launched it for the first time back in 2020, and now in 2023, we were launching it for the second time. And historically, at least in my business, and I know I'm not alone with this, second launches tend to be the worst performing launches. They aren't as good as first launches, and they aren't as good as the launches to come, especially when it comes to just raw revenue that is brought in. Now, I think that the main reason for this is because they don't have the hype and excitement that you get with a first launch, but they also don't have the momentum that you can get later on with subsequent launches. And so with that second launch, you're just kind of in this awkward in-between time, and you kind of have the worst of both worlds. But for this particular second launch of 100K Mastermind, we tried a few different things, and I think it's safe to say that they worked, because this wasn't just a good launch by second launch standards, it ended up being my best launch ever. I used to be scared to raise my prices because I thought that it would kill my sales. And of course, sales were exactly the thing I was trying to create, so I didn't want to do anything to put them in jeopardy. But now I realize that the only reason why raising your prices would hurt your conversions is if your leads or your prospects can't see the value of what you're offering. And that ends up meaning that your marketing messages are way more important than the dollar sticker that you put on it. That's because if people don't think that they want what you are offering, then they're not gonna buy it no matter how cheap you make it. But on the other hand, if they do think they want it, then they are quite likely to be willing to pay a lot more than you think they will. When I first launched 100K Mastermind back in 2022, it was the most expensive product I had ever offered. And yet I was really surprised at the reaction that people had. I was expecting them to tell me that it was too expensive, but instead they told me exactly the opposite. Over and over again, I heard them saying, this product is undervalued, it's underpriced, this product over-delivers, this product is a great deal. And this was shocking to me because I have heard people say that even my least expensive products are too expensive. And what I have found at this point is that people will say that no matter what price you pick. There will always be people who tell you that your products are too expensive. And give that as their reason for not buying. But I'd honestly say that I heard that less than ever with the 100K Mastermind price, which, like I said, was crazy because it was the most expensive thing I'd ever tried to sell. Well, since so many people told us that it was underpriced and that it was worth so much more than we were selling it for, we decided we should probably raise the price at least a little bit. And so that's what we did. In 2023, we raised the price by about 20%. Now, this definitely got me nervous again. You know, what if this was the price that kind of pushed people over the edge, that made people think now it is too expensive? But the opposite happened. People kept on telling us this product is underpriced. They kept telling us it's worth so much more than I paid for it, which of course made me feel really good, but it also proved the point that you can totally raise your prices without hurting your conversion rate. In fact, our conversion rates went up significantly from our first launch. With our first launch, we were seeing an average of about 6% conversions during our sales events, whereas with the second launch, we saw conversion rates as high as 13%. Now, I have to say that I don't think that the price went up as a direct result of raising the price. Now, I have seen that happen. Sometimes when you raise the price, it now makes your product look more valuable and people then are more interested in it. But in this case, that increase was relatively modest at about 20%. So I don't think it greatly changed people's perception of the product or its value. And so rather, I'm pretty sure that the reason why the conversion rate went up so much was because of another tactic we employed, which was we added something tangible to the value stack. Now, 100K Mastermind is an information product, it's an education product, it is a coaching product, and so it's mostly not things that are very tangible. So here's what we did. We added 12 months of the webinar software that we recommend to the offer stack. And so when someone purchased 100K Mastermind, now they didn't just get the program curriculum and the coaching aspect, now they were also getting this tangible asset of the webinar software that they actually needed to build their 500K funnel. And this was a game changer. I've been experimenting with this strategy more and more because I've noticed that it does have a really big impact on conversion rates. If people feel like you are handing them something physical, something tangible, then they kind of mentally discount the price by that much. So for example, if you were selling something for $1,000, but then you said, and it includes this $500 thing, well, they kind of mentally deduct that $500 from the price, and now they feel like, well, I'm only really paying $500 for it. And what that does is it helps them to logically justify why they should buy this thing that they already feel like they want to buy. And this is a major principle in sales psychology. People buy things because they feel like they want to buy them, and then they use logic to justify why they should buy them. And if they can do both those things, if they both feel like they want it and they can logically justify it, that is when they do in fact make that purchasing decision. When it comes to monetizing your content online, one of my very favorite ways to do this is to package it up into a subscription-based membership site so that people can access your content and you get paid month after month after month, creating a stream of recurring revenue for your business. And I'm excited to share with you that there is a new way to do this that is more beautiful and easier than ever before. And it's all done with a software called Uscreen. Uscreen essentially allows you to create your own branded Netflix-style membership site as well as TV and mobile apps. Now, what I mean by this is that Uscreen allows you to really easily create a platform, your own custom platform with your own branding, where people can easily access your content. But even beyond that, Uscreen also manages all of the payments, making it even easier for you, and it allows your users to manage their accounts and their subscriptions. It's all so seamless and so easy. If this sounds interesting to you, then check the link in the description below to learn more about Uscreen and how you can use it to monetize your content. It might surprise you to learn that I did not promote the offer that we were selling for this launch to my entire audience. In fact, I did not even send one single email to all of my email subscribers. See, here's the thing. With any audience, there are going to be people at different levels of commitment. There will be people who just casually followed you on social media. There will be people who actively subscribe to your email newsletter. And there will be people who intentionally signed up for the wait list or the equivalent for one of your products. But if you try to sell to all of them, well, you might make a couple more sales. You also run the high risk of burning yourself and burning the relationships with a lot of those people who might have been ready to buy a little bit later on. It's kind of like how in your friendship circles, you have different levels of relationships. You've got casual acquaintances, you have actual friends, and then you have probably just a few people who you're really close with, like your best friend or your spouse or your boyfriend. Now, when we're talking about closing sales in the business sphere, it's kind of the equivalent to asking someone to marry you and getting a yes to that marriage proposal in the relationship sphere. Now, what do you think would be the best tactic for getting a yes to your marriage proposal? Would it be to go out there and ask everyone you know, will you marry me? And hope that someone will say yes because it's a numbers game?
Please say yes.
Obviously not. Instead, you want to build a deep relationship with one person and then ask that one person to marry you. And that's going to be the best strategy for most likely getting a yes to your marriage proposal. Well, the same thing is true in business, although not to quite as an extreme of a degree. It's not about making a relationship with one person, but it is about forming a deep relationship with a few people rather than just trying to market to everyone. In short, you don't want to try to sell to people before they're ready because then they'll say no, and then that will be the answer that they have decided on. You want to wait until they actually are ready because then they'll say yes, or they'll at least seriously consider saying yes, even if they end up deciding that maybe now isn't quite the right time. So here's how I did this for this launch. Instead of just blasting out on all my social media channels that 100K Mastermind was now enrolling, or even sending out emails to my entire email list, instead what I did was a few weeks before the launch, I sent some announcements that 100K Mastermind would be opening soon, and I just told them a little bit about it and gave the opportunity to get on the wait list if they were interested. And if they didn't get on the wait list, then I didn't say another word about it to them. But not even all the people who got on the wait list ended up getting the opportunity to buy. We kept that reserved reserved for the people who showed they were truly committed. And how did we do that? Well, two ways. One was that we gave them the opportunity to submit an application where they told us more about their business, and we actually got on a Zoom call with them and we talked to them about it and made sure that 100K Mastermind would be the perfect fit for where they were in their business right now. The other way we did it was with group sales presentations. I hosted educational webinars where I told them more about the 100K method and showed them how it worked so that they could make an informed decision for themselves about whether or not it was the right fit. And only in those two situations did we actually give people the opportunity to sign up and join the program. Now, it might seem counterintuitive because you're cutting out a huge part of the potential market, but long-term, this is so much healthier for your business because it means that you can keep building stronger and stronger relationships with all those other people who weren't ready to buy anyway. And we know they weren't ready to buy because they didn't choose to take either of those routes to learn more about the program and be able to purchase. And instead, we can build these stronger relationships with them, and then we'll get the opportunity to invite them into the program at a later date. So as I mentioned a moment ago, I only wanted to promote the program to my hottest leads anyway. So I knew that I didn't need to spend any time running around in circles promoting 100K Mastermind on every social media platform or writing a ton of emails to my list about it. So instead, I was really strategic about how I spent my time. I figured out one thing that was going to have the biggest impact, and that was promoting our live sales events. With the 100K method, which is what I follow for all of my launches, I use webinars as the sales presentation. And that is because they are honestly so magic. Now, of course, just like anything else, you can mess them up. You can definitely do webinars the wrong way and they can be a mess. They can not convert well. They can turn people off. They can be flat out bad.
So bad.
But done right, webinars are so good. They convert like nothing else, and they can be such a win-win experience. And that's why in the 100K method, the formula that I use for the webinars, I've named it the win-win webinar method. I want it to be a feel-good experience for both people involved, both me as the webinar presenter or the teacher in the experience, as well as for the students or the attendees there at the webinar. I want them to walk away with so much value and with major epiphanies, even if they end up deciding not to join the program that I'm offering. And then when it comes to conversion rates, well, let me just share a couple numbers with you. With email marketing, when it's done really well, meaning like you've got the right people on your list and you have written really persuasive sales emails, you can expect it to convert at about 1%. Webinars, on the other hand, way higher. We set a minimum threshold of 5% conversions for our webinars, and we often see 10 to 20% conversions. There is no doubt in my mind that webinars are the single fastest way to turn an interested lead into a hot, ready-to-buy lead. Now, for this particular launch, it was extra easy for me because I already had a high-converting webinar that I'd put together for our first launch, and so I could just use that same presentation again. So that meant that all I needed to do was focus on promoting the webinar events that I was hosting to my audience. The two ways that I did this were, first of all, doubling down on writing some fresh, compelling promotion emails, and second of all, spending some time forming some strategic alliances with some promotional partners, such as ConvertKit. All in all, this enabled us to get about 4,000 humans registered for the 2 webinar events that I had on the calendar. And this was absolutely key for the success of the launch because I knew that the more people we could get to show up at the webinars, the more sales we could close. Well, there you have it, some of the most surprising lessons from my most successful launch to date. These are definitely all things I'll be doing again for our future launches because they had a huge impact on our end results. And I know because I've launched this product before and I know how that did, and I've also experienced plenty of second launches, and this one was nothing like those. I hope that you found this video really interesting and that you'll be able to put these lessons into practice for your next launch as well and turn it into your most successful launch yet too. By the way, if you're interested in learning more about 100K Mastermind, the program that I was talking about in this video, check the description below for a link to learn more about the program and to apply if you're interested in building a 100K funnel for your business. Up next, here's a video to watch to learn the 3 secrets of the 100K method itself.